How's it going, guys? Well, I'm just sitting here loading some magazines, and I had a couple of questions related to the group Overland trip. So I wanted to just give you guys some information, and I know at almost 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, not too many people are probably going to log on here, and I'm going to look at my notes here and make sure I don't miss anything. So, a couple of questions. We're going to do something new this year. This was actually a suggestion from Brett Miller from Warfighter Outfitters and Team Overland. So, Friday night we're going to do a little bit of a potluck. So, anybody that wants to, bring a dish that's enough to feed a handful of people, and we'll all gather around the campfire on Friday night, and we'll kick in and we'll have a little potluck. So, we'll also do the raffle on Friday night. We've got some pretty cool raffle prizes. We've got a couple of ready lights. I think we got a worm winch, a knife from CK Knife and Tool, a couple of sets of solar camp lights, backpacks. I don't know, we got all kinds of stuff. Bunch of cast iron, a couple of sets of pie irons, all kinds of stuff to give away in the raffle. If any of you guys want to bring stuff along to kick into the raffle, that would be awesome. The more the better. The only thing that I ask is just bring stuff that's cool that somebody would want. Raffle tickets will be 2 for $20, so bring some cash for raffle tickets. The gas situation. So I've got a lot of questions about fuel and should people bring extra gas. So basically there's 3 places, depending on where you're coming from, that'll be the last gas stop. If you're coming from the east on Highway 20, or you're coming up from California on Highway 395, a little kind of a building on the side of the road on Highway 20 called Riley, Oregon, will be the last place to get gas before Brothers. So if you're coming from the south or the east, or the southeast, I guess more specifically, you'll want to get gas in Riley. If you're coming from the Eugene area and you come over like the Sandy M Pass, you'll go through Sisters, come into Bend, and then Bend will be your last gas stop before Brothers. And there's no gas in Brothers, or if there is, it's just an emergency supply there. And then if you're coming from Portland, Seattle, you'll probably come over the mountains and you want to head towards Madras. And in Madras, you'll go through Madras and you'll go to Primeville, and Primeville will be your last gas stop. So, as most of you guys know, I live in Primeville. So I did a dry run of this route a couple of weeks ago just to make sure it was all passable and everything. And I made the entire route from Primeville to Brothers, drove the exact route that we're going to drive, drove all the trails, and I made it back to Primeville, and my little trip meter in my Jeep said that I was 30 miles to empty. So I made it on 1 tank, just barely. So having said that, my Jeep doesn't have great range on it. It's somewhere in the ballpark of 250, 270 miles from gas station to gas station. So most rigs should be able to make it on a tank of gas, but it's not a bad idea to throw an extra 5 gallons in or something if you have it. I'm sure enough of us will have extra gas along that we can help out anybody that's running a little short. Temperatures. A lot of people ask me about the temperatures. So it's likely that nighttime temperatures could be down in the 20s. Last year we had one night that got down to 13 degrees. That was kind of a freak cold night. I'm not expecting that this year, but it is possible. So nighttime temperatures in the 20s, I would anticipate that. Daytime temperatures should be in the 50s, maybe even up into the 60s. Right now the forecast is looking like the weather will be pretty good. So that's good. Trail conditions, a lot of questions about trail conditions. So again, to touch bases on that, the trails will be rough. Most 4-wheel drive vehicles with a decent amount of ground clearance won't have any problems. There is quite a bit of rocky areas in there. We'll go over a few miles of pretty rocky trails. So I would say make sure you have good tires. Again, just like last year, trailers aren't recommended. However, last year a couple people brought trailers and they did all right with them, like off-road capable trailers. You're not going to be able to get a camp trailer in there for sure. So I don't recommend trailers, but you know the capability of your rig. if you have a trailer that can go any place that your 4-wheel drive rig can go, you'll probably be all right with it. But the other thing to keep in mind is the trails are pretty tight in quite a few areas. So brush and trees pretty close to the trails and stuff like that. So sometimes trailers can be a little wider. So that could potentially be an issue too. Oh, this is a pretty funny one. So I've had quite a few people ask me, well, where at in Brothers are we meeting? Well, for those of you guys that haven't been there, you probably won't realize why this is funny to me, but Brothers is basically a wide spot on the road on Highway 20, and there's about 6 buildings there, so you can't miss us. If you get to Brothers, you won't be able to miss the meeting location. But having said that, the meeting location is the Brothers Stage Stop Cafe. T is the owner there. She's an awesome chick. She took really good care of us last year, so maybe spend a little bit of money in the store. She tries really hard to have some extra gas, some ice, good stock of burgers, things like that. They make a great burger, so it's a good place to get our last meal before we head out into the woods. Again, as far as like the plan, so basically, guys, this is how this works. So this is me going on a camping trip and inviting any of you guys that want to come along with me. And what this is not is it's not an organized trip. I'll lead you guys out there. You're welcome to follow me. We'll all camp together and we'll have a really good time. But this is not necessarily a trail run in that sense of the word. So I just want to be clear on that this is just, one time a year. I invite anybody who wants to come along with me to come on this camping trip out there, and we'll all get to hang out and have a good time and share the trail together. But we're all friends out there. Nobody's really in charge or not in charge. I think you guys all know what you're doing out there. We'll all help each other. If we run into problems, we'll solve the problems together. We'll have a good time and we'll chalk it off to adventure. But I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, and so you guys kind of understand. It's not, my expectation is not that I'm in charge of this. However, having said that, there are a couple of things that I do expect, and that is that we take good care of the country out there. There could potentially be a lot of rigs, a lot of us out there. And one thing that's really important to me is that we treat that land with respect. So that means we stay on the trails as much as possible. We tear up as little ground as we can. We do our best to leave no trace out there. Now, having said that, we'll be dispersed camping in areas that aren't set up for camping. There are no facilities along the way. We're just going to be out in the middle of God's country out there. There's going to be no facilities, no restrooms, no anything like that. So once we leave Brothers, or actually once we leave the pavement, there won't be any facilities of any kind until we get back on the pavement after that. So having said all that, I'm just looking forward to having a good time. I'm going to take a look at my list here and see what some of the other questions are. So we covered the potluck. Anybody that wants to bring some food along to throw it into a potluck on Friday night. Raffle prizes, bring some cash to buy raffle tickets. If you want to throw anything into the raffle, that's awesome. If you have a business or a company that wants to contribute anything, that's fantastic. I have about 30 raffle prizes that I've put together personally, that I've actually spent money on and purchased. So my idea behind the raffle and the potluck is just to get us all together in one big group, at least Friday night, so that we all hang out together and have a good time and get to meet each other and spend time together. Let's see what else here. Looks like, and I can see a bunch of messages going by on the screen, but I'm trying to get through my list here first, guys. Sorry about that. Another thing, cell phone coverage. A lot of people have asked about that. Cell coverage out there is intermittent at best. For a good part of our travel time on Friday, we will have cell phone reception. Once we get back up into the hills and start working our way on the more remote trails, we'll have really spotty cell service to none. And the same thing with where we camp. Where we camp at, there will be little to no cell phone service. But then on Saturday morning when we wake up, we'll wake up, have breakfast, hang out, and then we'll pack up in true Overland fashion and we'll travel to a second location for Saturday night's camp. When we make that trek, that'll be about a 3-hour trail run. to get to our next camp location, we'll go through quite a bit of area that does have cell phone reception again. So there should be a time every single day that you can get messages out, let your family know that you're safe and how things are going and everything. But just plan on that it'll be intermittent, you know, let people that want to know what to expect there. A lot of people have asked about the number of rigs and how many people are coming. So this is always, well, when I say always, this is only my second year, so it's not like I have a ton of experience with this, but last year I expected about 15 vehicles and we ended up with 42. I'm thinking this year we might have somewhere between 50 and 80 rigs, but it's really hard to tell. You know, there's probably somewhere around 100, 120 or so comments on the original video that I posted up about the trip of people saying that they're going to make it. You know, things happen, people get sick, things for work come up. So I'm expecting about half that number, so probably somewhere in that 50, 70 ballpark, somewhere in there. But no matter how many people come, we'll have a good time. A couple of people have asked if I could send out the coordinates to them for the campsite, and I'm not sending the coordinates out ahead of time, and I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. One of which is it is really remote country and it's really tricky to get back in there. And what I don't want is I don't want a bunch of people who are unfamiliar with the area trying to navigate back in there by themselves. And especially when most of us up at camp, there's a good chance we won't have any cell phone reception. So there would be no way for anybody to reach us and to come rescue or run a recovery run or anything like that. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is, well, because that's all part of the adventure, guys. You don't want to do too much research on it, man. That takes away the fun of the trip out there. So, and to be honest with you, that's usually how it works for me. Most of the time is I have a general area I'm going, but I don't really know the route or the area or anything like that. And that's all part of the adventure, man. So that's another reason out there. And then the final reason is, because I'm taking you guys all into some country that really is kind of special country to me. It's an area that I haven't taken a lot of people into, and I just don't really want it broadcast out all across the world just yet. Now I recognize after we make this trip, and hopefully some of you guys that are serious and love doing this overlanding and camping stuff as much as I do, hopefully a few of you guys will want to go back in there and explore a little bit, and that's okay. The only thing I would ask is just, you know, as always, be cautious about who you share it with, and the longer that we can keep traffic out there to a minimum, the better it's going to be for the rest of us that want to spend a few years exploring it more. So both spots are really awesome spots out there, a lot of cool stuff. We're going to go by a bunch of homesteads. We'll go through areas where we can find petrified wood, where we can find obsidians, where there was homesteaders, there were Native American history back in there, wagon roads. So we've got a lot of stuff we can check out along the way if we want to. And let's see, covered temperature, raffle, food. Yeah, so I think that's it, guys. I'm just really looking forward to the trip. In fact, I just put the finishing touches on setting up all the raffle stuff tonight. So man, I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm really excited to get a chance to meet some of you guys that have been following my channel for a while, and we've been commenting back and forth, and I'm just really excited about it. So, man, hit me up with any questions in the comments below, and let's see, October 11th through the 13th, that's this coming Friday, Brothers, Oregon. Again, meet in Brothers at 11. We will roll out of Brothers at noon. And I guess on that note, guys, let's see, I see some questions coming on the screen here. Sorry about that. Oh, the problem is they go away faster than I can see them. Live music. Oh, Frogman. Yes, if anybody wants to bring instruments and play some music, feel free. Yep, we can shoot. Somebody's asking if we can shoot. Yeah, I'm not bringing any targets with me, so if any of you guys want to shoot, bring some targets. Otherwise, we can figure something out there. But what? Lots of room out there to shoot whatever we want to do. Let's see what else. Oh, radio. Yeah, excellent question. All right, so what I'll be running is I usually run these Baofeng 5Rs or some variation of those, UV 5R, something like that. We'll generally run on the MERS channel, so MERS 3 is the most common one that I run. That's 151.940, I think. Let me just check that here. Yeah, we'll run 151.940. That's MERS 3, or at least we call it MERS 3 around here. So yeah, if you've got a ham radio of some type, I usually bring a couple of extras with me, just so I can get at least a couple of people in the convoy that I'm communicating with. Let's see what else is rolling up here. Okay, fuel. Another question about fuel. I did talk about that earlier, but it's not a bad idea to bring about 5 gallons extra fuel. What kind of drone do I use? I'm running this. Actually, this is my drone sitting right here. That's the DJI Mavic Pro Platinum. Oh, one just flew away and I missed it. Yep, cigars are welcome. I gotta keep loading magazines here. Oh, let's see. Ham radio, dogs are fine, yep. How many vehicles? Another guy asking how many vehicles. So that is the question of the trip, is how many vehicles. I'm thinking that somewhere around 70 or so. Yep, a Tahoe can come. Actually, there were all kinds of different rigs on the trip. Last year, we even had a couple from Idaho that drove. I think it was a 1972 Ford pickup. It was pretty cool. Yep, I think around 70 rigs. CB radio, I don't really use a CB radio. I do have one that I can take with me, so I would defer to somebody else in the group as far as what CB channel to run. Another question on the comm. So ham radios are the best. That seems to be the thing that the majority of people all have. Sorry guys, I gotta get these magazines loaded up because we go on the group Overland trip and then we get back Sunday night, and Monday I'm in another firearms training all day long. So I'm sitting here loading stacks of magazines tonight. All right, guys, well, I think the comments are kind of winding down. Hit me up below in the comments if you guys have any other questions. I'll try to stay really on top of the comments this week. Other than that, man, I'm just looking forward to the trip, and it's going to be a great time. I hope to see a lot of you guys out there, and that's all for this one. Coyote Works out. Thanks, man.